Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer and today I'm going to be reacting to Amala Ekpunobi's video. Hold on a second. It's called Why I Quit My Job as a Leftist Organizer. I know she's very popular nowadays because she's very anti-wokeness and the fact that she is a black lady supporting conservative causes, calls people's attention. And in fact, that's what she talks about in this video, her views on race and why she left the left and why she is in this conservative platform PragerU. I've seen her on several PragerU videos that show up on my Facebook feed, and she's with the other guy Will Witt, and they're reacting to things, and they're very witty and humorous, even though I don't agree with a lot of what they say, but I can definitely see that personality appeal and why people want to watch them. So I'm gonna react to her video because I think I watched little clips of it, and there are some things that I find problematic or pointless to be included in this video. I wanna discuss. So that's what we're gonna be reacting to today and discussing, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on what I think of her transformation from the left to the right. So without further ado, let's get to the video.
My name is Amala Ekpunobi, and this is my story. I'm 20 years old. I was born in Florida, and I'm a social media influencer and Prager Force member. So my father was a Nigerian immigrant. He moved to America. He met my mother. They fell in love and got married, and they had 3 children, me being the middle child. And he was in my life up until I was 6 years old, and then my parents got divorced. So I have very little memories of him as a child, and as they were divorced, I didn't see him very often, maybe every year or so.
Okay, I have to pause here because I think I already know where this is going. You know how PragerU is very like, a family unit is so important. A family is part of what makes Americans strong. And family is very important to PragerU because they're a little bit of a Christian organization. They're always talking about God, at least Dennis Prager is. And I feel like a lot of the times PragerU blames a lot of the problems of the country on the disintegration of the family unit in America. So I think it's already weird that they started this video there with that part of her story, which is irrelevant. It should be irrelevant to why she left the left. Like, her ideology should have little to do with whether her parents are divorced or married. Newsflash, there are also divorces and shitty families in conservative families, in Republican families, in Christian families. Those families are not flawless, are not perfect. Even if they are, they stay married forever, they might still have a bunch of problems. So it's weird that they're highlighting that part of her story right here.
And now he bears very little influence in my life, which I know is common for most people in the Black community, unfortunately. So I sort of fall into that statistic, if you will. So my mom is a very strong-willed woman, a very opinionated woman. She happens to work for the left. She is a fundraiser, so she gets all the funding for the organization that she works for. As a child, my mom's beliefs were ingrained in me. She taught me leftist ideology and what she believed from a very young age, and I was always well aware of where she fell on the line and expected to believe the same. Not having my father in my life did have an impact on me, but I found father figures elsewhere. And 2 people who had a major influence on me were my grandparents, and they are this strong, beautiful, conservative couple that has been...
I'm gonna have to speed this up because it's an 8-minute video. Let's just make it a little bit faster.
Married for years and years, and they taught me how to be a lady. They taught me how...
You heard that she mentioned that they've been married for years and years, as if that was a proof of their ideology being better. you can have people that have been married for years and years and years, and their ideologies can be shitty or different. Like they can be married for years and years, and one of them has a very different ideology from the other. But what they're trying to do in this video is, start selling that narrative like marriage, it's the family unit of America that keeps us strong. Therefore, it's better. And people who support the family unit must have it right, and their ideas must be better. And guess who supports the family unit? Conservatives, Republicans. So you should be paying attention to what we're saying. It's all in subtext, but it's there.
How to carry myself and be mature, and I find myself very lucky actually that even though my family does not agree with the values that I am putting out to the world, that my family accepts what I do and that they are proud of what I do even though they disagree. When I was 17 and I graduated high school, I took up
Hold on, let me go back a little bit. Going back to the marriage thing, I'm giving my opinion on why I think PragerU is putting so much emphasis on the family unit. But that doesn't mean I have anything against marriage. Marriage is cool if that's what you want. And having small family, big family, like that's completely up to the individual. It has nothing to do with your ideology.
I was 17 and I graduated high school. I took up a job as a youth organizer at my mother's organization. And as I was working there, I remember in particular walking into the office and hearing these conversations, specifically in regards to white people, and it was blatantly racist. There's no way around it. There was no beating around the bush. They hated white people. And I sat down with the VP of the organization, and I told him I was concerned. I'm half white. I grew up with my white family. Am I supposed to hate that half of myself? Am I supposed to hate my family? He essentially told me, you have to understand that people are angry, and they're rightfully angry, and they're going to say these things, and maybe they don't fully mean it, but you have to sit down and you have to take it, and you should be angry too. So that was a light bulb moment for me. And I went out to seek answers on my own since nobody wanted to answer them. I went online and...
You know what I also think it's funny? What I have noticed from watching PragerU videos here and there is that they have this sense of like, or they're trying to sell this narrative like, now it's white people who are under attack. Now the left is selling this narrative that being white is bad, right? So that's like one of their points that PragerU talks about a lot. So it's so interesting that they got this lady to also sell that narrative, that same narrative. And I just think that's weird, because even if you were through that some people are saying that being white is bad or whatnot, their influence is very small because they are the minority, right? Like white people are still the majority in America. Like I just don't think they're like really under threat from these leftists or woke people. So I can see how you'd be hurt by those statements. Like I would also be hurt if people said being Mexican is bad, which people have said that. But yeah, I don't think that the threat is real.
I don't think that the threat is real.
I found an interview in particular of Thomas Sowell, and something that resonated with me is that he was a Marxist for most of his young life, just as I was, and that shared experience was a beautiful revelation to see. And now he is this beautiful mind who has intellect beyond what I will ever be capable of. So he is a major inspiration for me and a big part of why I'm a conservative today. So when I think about the Black community in America and how we are taught to be victims, it is devastating for me. And what happens is you are raised in a society in which really nobody is treating you differently, but you have the mindset that they are. And not only does it hold you back from creating your own success, but it holds you back from taking accountability. And you no longer are responsible for your actions because you have somebody to blame. And people perpetuate that and they tell you that's okay.
Well, first of all, I think any minority does get treated differently only because, we are used to what we are used to, right? Like, so you do treat other people who are different than you different a little bit, but for the most part, not enough to like impact their day to day or their career choices or their education choices. Nowadays people, even if they have like thoughts of like, I have my opinions about this race or whatever, like they're not gonna act on it. So in that sense I agree, but at the same time I don't agree that you're not treated differently, because you are, as a minority, you are treated differently a little bit, but not enough to have like a huge impact. And I say this because I'm a minority, and that's what I feel like. I feel a little bit of different treatment, but not enough to make an impact in my life.
Okay, and they say, yes, you are a victim, and then you go out with that mindset, and when success doesn't happen for you, you blame it on other people. And ultimately, I think that is the main problem with that narrative, is that there's no accountability in the Black community anymore, and people get very, very angry when you say things like that, because they want their race to be seen. They think it's such a pivotal part of who they are as a person, and it's overtaking character, it's overtaking morals and values, it's overtaking where you even land politically. Your race is seen as this sort of pivotal structure to who you are, when that should not be the case. We are bringing back segregation in this country.
In that I agree with her, like your race is inconsequential to the content of your brain, right? I'm like quoting from Ayn Rand here. Your thoughts, you choose them, you choose your actions, and your race has nothing to do with it.
And people will sell it to you as if we're doing it in a positive manner, but it is segregation nonetheless, and that is never positive. So that's another narrative that the American people are being sold, that we need to uplift Black people, and in doing that, we need to keep them in their separate categories, and we need to give them their success. And it perpetuates the very same racist narrative that they are trying to run away from. Because if Black people can't do anything without your help, and without the help of white liberals or white leftists, what are you saying about the Black community? You're saying that they're not capable of doing things without you. You're taking away their character, you're taking away their success and putting it under your name. We are seeing this positive segregation in the Black-only college dorms. We're seeing it in affirmative action. We're seeing it in our streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, where we have Black-only categories. I went onto YouTube the other day and I got a big poster that said, let's uplift Black creators. And here's a list of Black creators on our platform. We are segregating virtually every single facet.
Yeah, that's very weird and problematic when that happens, because whatever, like let's say you're featuring one of those, like here are some Black creators that you should watch. They pick 10 of them, and let's say 2 of them go viral because of that feature. Their success is now not fully their success. Their success is because YouTube decided they're victims and they need this feature. And so basically YouTube made it happen. Instead of letting individuals choose who they want to see, who they want to follow, and letting individuals succeed on their own. Like, it would be different if YouTube decided to feature some specific creators, but based on the potential they see, like, oh, these 10 creators are super funny, let's feature them because of how funny they are, not because of the color of their skin.
Of our society, and we're doing it in this gradual process and teaching people that it's a positive aspect of our lives when it's not. The left is very, very supportive of anti-American values and anti-American speech, and they see it as taking back a country that has not served them, even though America has done wonders for everybody who lives here. I fear that if things continue on the same track that they're on right now, we are going to lose all sight of what America ever was or what America should be. And there are strong campaigns to strip America of its tradition and of its values. And a lot of it is what we are taught. When we go into school, we are taught that this country of freedom and liberty has all these transgressions that nobody wants to talk about and nobody wants to discuss. And really, we have a systemic issue, that we really are not the free and tolerant country that we preach to people that we are. We are not the beacon on the hill that we try to get other people to perceive us as. And I think it is just a child that is born of misinformation and lies. I think that we can all find common ground in looking at the beautiful things that this country has to offer. We get to experience more freedom than anybody in the world. The fact that I can go out and have freedom of speech and say what I feel and what I think. It's also amazing in this country that we can come here and enjoy all these opportunities, create businesses, create our own world, create our own dream, and to know that you can go out and be whatever you want to be is a beautiful thing that should absolutely be celebrated on both sides.
I think it's funny that she throws that away so easily. Like, you can come here and create this amazing life when PragerU is very anti-immigration. Well, they say they support, legal immigration, but they also always perpetuate this rhetoric that we are only trying to be mindful of immigration because people from other countries bring their terrible ideas, and then they vote and then make the country worse. Like, they're already saying like, oh, people from other countries have bad ideas. But then here this lady saying the color of your skin, your origin should not dictate your ideology, right? Like, just because you're black, you don't have to be leftist. And then she's, really driving the point home, and PragerU is supporting that, but only because it fits their narrative. Like, I wonder what they would say if she tried to make a video questioning like, why does PragerU has this rhetoric against immigration? Why don't we judge each individual individually and not as a whole, as like, this nation has bad ideas, therefore we don't want them in our country? Dr. Bob, who that?
Thank you.
Well, anyway, that was the video. Amala Ekpunobi's video. Her last name is pretty cool. Ekpunobi. Sounds lit. I like how she talks about how race and the color of your skin should not dictate your ideas. I like that she's talking about how like the individual is what matters. Although she didn't actually said that, she just said leftist ideas are wrong and black people shouldn't fall for them. There's a better alternative, conservatism. Although that's not the only alternative. Like, I wish she would say more about think for yourself, choose your own ideas, instead of saying choose conservatism, like, because there are more ideologies out there other than just liberalism, leftism, and conservatism. There are more ideas, better ideas out there. For example, the philosophy that uplifts the individual, and it is all about individual happiness and choosing your own values instead of choosing the values that have been inherited through decades and decades by the conservative movement, such as the family unit and Christianity. Like, that's not gonna make everyone happy. Like, having a family and believing in God, you have to choose what makes you happy and pursue the values that make you happy. And if having a family is not your thing, like, don't feel bad about it. Like, it's not American to have a family. Having a family is an individual choice. But that doesn't mean I am like making light of her father not being in her life. Like, obviously that's something that sucks, but that has more to do about how that specific divorce should have been handled. You can argue that he handled it wrong by not being there for his children. Obviously, like, people should learn how to handle their divorces better. If they made a choice to get married and it didn't work and you have children, like, you have to make good choices for your children, because they didn't choose to be born. It was your choice to bring them into the world. So now you have to take responsibility for that. But yeah, Mala, obviously a very smart lady, witty. Her videos in PragerU are interesting. But yeah, what I don't like is she saying, hey, black people, there is a better way than leftism. There is conservatism. Because I'm like, no, that's not the only alternative. There are multiple other things that are not leftism, that are not conservatism, that could be a better fit for black people and for any individual. For white people, white people don't have to choose between left and right. There are other stuff. And what you really need to do to discover that is to think and be open. And if you care about really individual rights and happiness, you really need to take a critical look at both of those sides. Are both of those sides really promoting individual rights? Because you can make the argument that they are not. Like, leftism wants you to follow the tribe of race, but then the right wants you to follow the tribe of religion, for instance. So neither of them is ideal. And that's one of the things I wish Amala could discover. Well, anyways, that was it. That was my video. My video that nobody asked for.